Welcome back to Car Future Wheels. Picture the moment you first catch it in the wild, parked alone under a street light at night. Every line of the 2026 Porsche 992 GT3 carved out by shadows and reflections. You walk toward it, and each step feels like you're approaching something alive. The front splitter almost skims the ground, daring you to imagine what happens when it bites into the air at speed. The LED light signature glows in the darkness, crisp and clinical, like the eyes of something that's not just looking at you, it's evaluating you. The badge on the hood isn't oversized or flashy, it's almost modest. And that modesty is the ultimate flex, because Porsche doesn't need to scream, it lets the engineering do the talking. Your eyes followed the curve of the front fender arch, so wide and muscular, catching the light differently from every angle. The side mirrors aren't just perched there, they're aerodynamically shaped, with that little shark fin stance, and you know they've been wind tunnel tested to the millimeter. From the side, the car sits slow and tied to the road, almost like it's squatting, ready to spring. The roofline flows seamlessly toward the rear, and you realize the entire silhouette is designed not for looks alone, but for balance, so that at 180 miles per hour, you're not just holding on, you're in control. Get closer to the back and it feels like the crescendo of a symphony. That fixed rear wing doesn't feel bolted in, it feels grown out of the car, sculpted by function, shaped by necessity. The air passes over and under it, feeding that rear diffuser, and the quad exhaust tips gleam like the barrels of a precision tool. Even standing still, you can sense the force this car channels when it's moving at full tilt. The taillights a thin, piercing linear stretch across the rear, emphasizing the width, giving the impression that the GT3 is always about 2 seconds away from disappearing into the horizon. Step inside, you open the door, and instead of the plush luxury most cars try to sell you, you're greeted by a cockpit that feels like a command center. The door itself is light, thanks to weight-saving materials, yet solid in the hand. Inside, there's no excess chrome, no distraction, just an atmosphere of focus. The smell of Alcantara and leather hits first, rich, but not indulgent. Your hands naturally fall to the steering wheel, wrapped in grippy suede-like material, with just enough thickness to feel substantial without being bulky. In front of you, that glorious analog tachometer dominates the instrument cluster, flanked by configurable screens that are more about lap times and tire pressures than playlists and phone calls. Press the starter and the world changes. The flat six roars to life, not a polite hum, but an immediate, mechanical snarl that sends vibrations through the seat into your spine. Blip the throttle and it's not just noisy, it's information. You can hear the revs climb and fall like the engine is telling you a story in a language only car enthusiasts understand. At Tittle, there's a steady pulse, a heartbeat. At Redline, it's a scream so sharp and clear it could cut glass. On the move, the GT3's chassis talks to you. Steering feel is so precise it's almost uncanny, like your fingertips are tracing the texture of the road. The suspension, adaptive and incredibly responsive, manages that impossible Porsche trick of being firm enough for track work, yet still civil on real-world roads. Braking is savage. Those carbon ceramic discs don't just slow you down, they erase speed with surgical precision, lap after lap, without a hint of fade. Push it harder, and the car just leans into your ambition. Every corner becomes a conversation between you and the GT3. It will do exactly what you ask, but it also knows when to push back, reminding you that mastery is earned, not given. The rear wheel steering makes tight bends feel like slow-motion knife cuts, clean and deliberate. And at speed, the aero works invisibly, pinning you down without any sensation of drag, just stability, the kind that makes you want to stay out there for one more lap. Under the hood, yes, the numbers are impressive, 0 to 60 in the low 3-second range, over 500 horsepower, revs to 9 grand, a top speed brushing past 190 miles per hour. But the magic of the 2026 GT3 isn't in the numbers, it's in the connection. It's the way the car makes you feel every part of the process, from the smallest steering input to the perfect shift into third as you scream past the pit wall. Of course, that feeling comes at a price. The base number is already high, well north of 200 grand, but the reality is, most GT3s leave the factory with personalized touches that send the final figure soaring. Paint to sample, magnesium wheels, full carbon interiors, such package, a broken bar. These aren't just options, they're statements. And yet, for the people who buy them, the value isn't about resale or prestige, it's about having the most distilled version of driving pleasure money can buy. The GT3 is the rare machine that makes you want to drive for no reason, to wake up early just to see the sunrise through that windshield, to take the long way home, to hear that flat six sing at 8,000 revolutions per minute on an empty stretch of road. It's not about getting from point A to point B, it's about every single heartbeat between them. And that's why, here at Future Wheels, we can say with confidence, the 2026 Porsche 992 GT3 isn't just one of the best sports cars you can buy, it's one of the most complete expressions of what driving can be. If you've ever wondered what it's like to feel utterly connected to a machine, to have every sense dialed into the road, this is your answer. So, if the day comes when you see one parked with the engine cooling down, or hear that signature wail echoing through a canyon, take a second and smile. Somewhere, someone's living the dream. And maybe, one day, that someone could be you. And that's why we'll leave you with these. If you love seeing machines like the 2026 Porsche 992 GT3 broken down in full detail, and you want to keep riding shotgun as we dive into the future of performance, make sure you're subscribed to Future Wheels. Hit that bell so you don't just watch the next episode you feel at the moment it drops. Because around here, it's not just cars we talk about. A broken bar, it's everything they make possible. See you on the next one.